Lumayan, ayam.
Apa kan?
Iya.
Karena ada ilah.
Ini kok yang merah.
Ini ada kayak langsung lagi. Angin. Biasa sih
antem warna.
He's been scoring the goals for Benfica last season, 20 plus goals for them, the first time he's managed that in his career, and seems to be moving in a positive direction once again, so no doubt he'll want to put in a performance today for those Spanish fans that are watching and maybe didn't get to see the best of it.
Yep, Shaqiri waiting for the ball, but there was some good work there from Pedri. I think it was chasing back. Now a little Ball from the left-hand side from Zuba was looking to be rolled into the box, but nobody on the same wavelength as him. Seferovic has had some pretty good goals. He's brilliant in the air if they can get the ball to him. So far, he hasn't seen much of it. It's funny, isn't it? That penalty shootout with France. You know, when I looked at Kylian Mbappe coming up for that final penalty, I just thought, I don't fancy him. Don't fancy him at all. He had not scored in the tournament, and as the time had dragged on without him grabbing a goal, I think his confidence had just absolutely plummeted. And it's weird that somebody should be quite so brittle, or seemingly as brittle as that. But anyway, we'll break off. Here is Ferran Torres again. He's had a good start to the game. Morata then out to Sarabia, left-hand side. He looks up. It's a decent-looking ball in, a good header away by Elvedi.
Yeah, behind for another corner, and there'll be a few nervous Switzerland fans watching on now, with memories back to what happened just shy of 10 minutes in this game when Jordi Alba was able to slam home the opposite side this time around. So it looks as though it's going to be an out-swinging delivery, and they've got a bit of height in this Spain side with Laporte coming up, Busquets in there, Pau Torres, Morata, players that can cause problems. So Switzerland's got the hands full.
Yeah, they're not a small team, are they? One point, you know, you'd regard them as a fairly diminutive team. And a big striker or so, didn't they? But anyway, that's been dealt with, and this time Jordi Alba's got to play that ball backwards. And Spain again happy enough to build from the back, looking for a long ball. Sarabia just jabs that back on his inside, but this time Zakaria has read that well. Shepherded away his man, but pocket pick there. Some more great work by Ferran Torres. Morata now looking for a give and go with Sarabia, but he was hauled down to the ground, and Michael Oliver has given a free kick at the edge of the area. Dennis Zakaria has had a date to forget so far, but I don't think it was him with the challenge. It was Vidma from behind.
Yeah, he was close, wasn't he, Zakaria? But he didn't get stuck in the end. It was his teammate, and it was good work from Morata. It wasn't a great deal on there. He was looking to work the 1-2 and just dragged down to the floor. Really good position this for Spain. That they've got some decent set piece takers, just sort of left of centre towards that left-hand post. In fact, just slightly wide of the left-hand post. So a good angle for Koke with the right foot. They've got Sarabia, I think it is. There is the left-footed option as well, but I feel this one's got to be taken by Koke.
Yeah, you'd have thought so. He's already got one assist. Anyway, Koke, the number 8, takes it, and that hits the roof of the net just about. He was always leaning back a little bit there. I didn't really fancy it when I saw his body shape, to be honest.
Yeah, never coming down, is it? Keeper Sommer goes across and the hand is out, but I think he's always confident in the knowledge that he's going to end up over his crossbar. Looking to round off a good year, isn't he, Koke, after winning the La Liga title once again with Atletico Madrid, and looking for glory with Spain here.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Michael Oliver doesn't give one high. little to do in the Spain goal. At St. Petersburg Stadium in the quarter-final of Euro 2020, it's Spain who have the slight advantage, just one goal between them. You thought it was Jordi Alba had scored. Final of Euro 2020, it's Spain who have the slight advantage, just one goal between them. You thought it was Jordi Alba had scored, the ball taking a wicked deflection off Denis Zakaria, but in fact his shot must have been off target because it was credited as an own goal. For Switzerland, they've often puffed and tried to break down the field, but they haven't had a shot on target yet. Unai Simon has had very little to do in the Spain goal. At St. Petersburg Stadium in the quarter-final of Euro 2020, it's Spain who have the slight advantage, just one goal between them. You thought it was Jordi Alba had scored, the ball taking a wicked deflection off Denis Zakaria, but in fact his shot must have been off target because it was credited as an own goal. For Switzerland, they've often puffed and tried to break down the field, but they haven't had a shot on target yet. Unai Simon has had very little to do in the Spain goal. At St. Petersburg Stadium in the quarter-final of Euro 2020, it's Spain who have the slight advantage, just one goal between them. You thought it was Jordi Alba had scored, the ball taking a wicked deflection off Denis Zakaria, but in fact his shot must have been off target because it was credited as an own goal. For Switzerland, they've often puffed and tried to break down the field, but they haven't had a shot on target yet. Unai Simon has had very little to do in the Spain goal. At St. Petersburg Stadium in the quarter-final of Euro 2020, it's Spain who have the slight advantage, just one goal between them. You thought it was Jordi Alba had scored, the ball taking a wicked deflection off Denis Zakaria, but in fact his shot must have been off target because it was credited as an own goal. For Switzerland, they've often puffed and tried to break down the field, but they haven't had a shot on target yet. Unai Simon has had very little to do in the Spain goal. At St. Petersburg Stadium in the quarter-final of Euro 2020, it's Spain who have the slight advantage, just one goal between them. You thought it was Jordi Alba had scored, the ball taking a wicked deflection off Denis Zakaria, but in fact his shot must have been off target because it was credited as an own goal. For Switzerland, they've often puffed and tried to break down the field, but they haven't had a shot on target yet. Unai Simon has had very little to do in the Spain goal. At St. Petersburg Stadium in the quarter-final of Euro 2020, it's Spain who have the slight advantage, just one goal between them. You thought it was Jordi Alba had scored, the ball taking a wicked deflection off Denis Zakaria, but in fact his shot must have been off target because it was credited as an own goal. For Switzerland, they've often puffed and tried to break down the field, but they haven't had a shot on target yet. Unai Simon has had very little to do in the Spain goal. At St. Petersburg Stadium in the quarter-final of Euro 2020, it's Spain who have the slight advantage, just one goal between them. You thought it was Jordi Alba had scored, the ball taking a wicked deflection off Denis Zakaria, but in fact his shot must have been off target because it was credited as an own goal. For Switzerland, they've often puffed and tried to break down the field, but they haven't had a shot on target yet. Unai Simon has had very little to do in the Spain goal. At St. Petersburg Stadium in the quarter-final of Euro 2020, it's Spain who have the slight advantage, just one goal between them. You thought it was Jordi Alba had scored, the ball taking a wicked deflection off Denis Zakaria, but in fact his shot must have been off target because it was credited as an own goal. For Switzerland, they've often puffed and tried to break down the field, but they haven't had a shot on target yet. Unai Simon has had very little to do in the Spain goal. At St. Petersburg Stadium in the quarter-final of Euro 2020, it's Spain who have the slight advantage, just one goal between them. You thought it was Jordi Alba had scored, the ball taking a wicked deflection off Denis Zakaria, but in fact his shot must have been off target because it was credited as an own goal. For Switzerland, they've often puffed and tried to break down the field, but they haven't had a shot on target yet. Unai Simon has had very little to do in the Spain goal. At St. Petersburg Stadium in the quarter-final of Euro 2020, it's Spain who have the slight advantage, just one goal between them. You You thought it was Jordi Alba had scored, the ball taking a wicked deflection off Denis Zakaria, but in fact his shot must have been off target because it was credited as an own goal for Switzerland. They've often puffed and tried to break down the field, but they haven't had a shot on target yet. Unai Simon has had very little to do in the Spain goal. At St. Petersburg Stadium in the quarter-final of Euro 2020, it's Spain who have the slight advantage, just one goal between them. You thought it was Jordi Alba had scored, the ball taking a wicked deflection off Denis Zakaria, but in fact his shot must have been off target because it was credited as an own goal for Switzerland. They've often puffed and tried to break down the field, but they haven't had a shot on target yet. Unai Simon has had very little to do in the Spain goal. At St. Petersburg Stadium in the quarter-final of Euro 2020, it's Spain who have the slight advantage, just one goal between them. You thought it was Jordi Alba had scored, the ball taking a wicked deflection off Denis Zakaria, but in fact his shot must have been off target because it was credited as an own goal for Switzerland. They've often puffed and tried to break down the field, but they haven't had a shot on target yet. Unai Simon has had very little to do in the Spain goal. At St. Petersburg Stadium in the quarter-final of Euro 2020, it's Spain who have the slight advantage, just one goal between them. You thought it was Jordi Alba had scored, the ball taking a wicked deflection off Denis Zakaria, but in fact his shot must have been off target because it was credited as an own goal for Switzerland. They've often puffed and tried to break down the field, but they haven't had a shot on target yet. Unai Simon has had very little to do in the Spain goal. At St. Petersburg Stadium in the quarter-final of Euro 2020, it's Spain who have the slight advantage, just one goal between them. You thought it was Jordi Alba had scored, the ball taking a wicked deflection off Denis Zakaria, but in fact his shot must have been off target because it was credited as an own goal for Switzerland. They've often puffed and tried to break down the field, but they haven't had a shot on target yet. Unai Simon has had very little to do in the Spain goal. At St. Petersburg Stadium in the quarter-final of Euro 2020, it's Spain who have the slight advantage, just one goal between them. You thought it was Jordi Alba had scored, the ball taking a wicked deflection off Denis Zakaria, but in fact his shot must have been off target because it was credited as an own goal for Switzerland. They've often puffed and tried to break down the field, but they haven't had a shot on target yet. Unai Simon has had very little to do in the Spain goal. At St. Petersburg Stadium in the quarter-final of Euro 2020, it's Spain who have the slight advantage, just one goal between them. You thought it was Jordi Alba had scored, the ball taking a wicked deflection off Denis Zakaria, but in fact his shot must have been off target because it was credited as an own goal for Switzerland. They've often puffed and tried to break down the field, but they haven't had a shot on target yet. Unai Simon has had very little to do in the Spain goal. At St. Petersburg Stadium in the quarter-final of Euro 2020, it's Spain who have the slight advantage, just one goal between them. You thought it was Jordi Alba had scored, the ball taking a wicked deflection off Denis Zakaria, but in fact his shot must have been off target because it was credited as an own goal for Switzerland. They've often puffed and tried to break down the field, but they haven't had a shot on target yet. Unai Simon has had very little to do in the Spain goal. At St. Petersburg Stadium in the quarter-final of Euro 2020, it's Spain who have the slight advantage, just one goal between them. You thought it was Jordi Alba had scored, the ball taking a wicked deflection off Denis Zakaria, but in fact his shot must have been off target because it was credited as an own goal for Switzerland. They've often puffed and tried to break down the field, but they haven't had a shot on target yet. Unai Simon has had very little to do in the Spain goal. At St. Petersburg Stadium in the quarter-final of Euro 2020, it's Spain who have the slight advantage, just one goal between them. You thought it was Jordi Alba had scored, the ball taking a wicked deflection off Denis Zakaria, but in fact his shot must have been off target because it was credited as an own goal for Switzerland. They've often puffed and tried to break down the field, but they haven't had a shot on target yet. Unai Simon has had very little to do in the Spain goal. At St. Petersburg Stadium in the quarter-final of Euro 2020, it's Spain who have the slight advantage, just one goal between them. You thought it was Jordi Alba had scored. The ball taking a wicked deflection off Denis Zakaria, but in fact his shot must have been off target because it was credited as an own goal for Switzerland. They've huffed and puffed and tried to break down the field, but they haven't had a shot on target yet. And Unai Simon has had very little to do with the Spain goal. At St. Petersburg Stadium in the quarter-final of Euro 2020, it's Spain who have the slight advantage, just one goal between them. We thought it was Jordi Alba had scored. The ball taking a wicked deflection off Denis Zakaria, but in fact his shot must have been off target because it was credited as an own goal for Switzerland. They've huffed and puffed and tried to break down the field, but they haven't had a shot on target yet. And Unai Simon has had very little to do with the Spain goal. At St. Petersburg Stadium in the quarter-final of Euro 2020, it's Spain who have the slight advantage, just one goal between them. We thought it was Jordi Alba had scored. The ball taking a wicked deflection off Denis Zakaria, but in fact his shot must have been off target because it was credited as an own goal for Switzerland. They've huffed and puffed and tried to break down the field, but they haven't had a shot on target yet. And Unai Simon has had very little to do with the Spain goal. At St. Petersburg Stadium in the quarter-final of Euro 2020, it's Spain who have the slight advantage, just one goal between them. We thought it was Jordi Alba had scored. The ball taking a wicked deflection off Denis Zakaria, but in fact his shot must have been off target because it was credited as an own goal for Switzerland. They've huffed and puffed and tried to break down the field, but they haven't had a shot on target yet. And Unai Simon has had very little to do with the Spain goal. At St. Petersburg Stadium in the quarter-final of Euro 2020, it's Spain who have the slight advantage, just one goal between them. We thought it was Jordi Alba had scored. The ball taking a wicked deflection off Denis Zakaria, but in fact his shot must have been off target because it was credited as an own goal for Switzerland. They've huffed and puffed and tried to break down the field, but they haven't had a shot on target yet. And Unai Simon has had very little to do with the Spain goal. At St. Petersburg Stadium in the quarter-final of Euro 2020, it's Spain who have the slight advantage, just one goal between them. We thought it was Jordi Alba had scored. The ball taking a wicked deflection off Denis Zakaria, but in fact his shot must have been off target because it was credited as an own goal for Switzerland. They've huffed and puffed and tried to break down the field, but they haven't had a shot on target yet. And Unai Simon has had very little to do with the Spain goal. At St. Petersburg Stadium in the quarter-final of Euro 2020, it's Spain who have the slight advantage.
Right, we're back and the players are back out there. Well, most of them anyway, but there has been a change. And so Olmo has come on for Spain. Dani Olmo for Sarabia, who had a fairly quiet game, ball into the box there for the Swiss, but no problems. And still Unai Simon has not a save to make. It was a very quiet first half, Bobby, and maybe for Spain, I think all possession football will join the sting out of Switzerland, but it's still just a one-goal game, isn't it?
It is. There's very little in it, to be honest. I mean, there might actually be an early chance here as Morata is found on the edge of the box.
The shot comes in, but it's very comfortable for the keeper. I'm not sure they were onside in that. Dani almost like a back pass, that wasn't it, this shot? I'm not sure that Sarabia couldn't have done a little bit better, and he looks like Morata was just off.
Yeah, just went a little bit early, didn't he, Morata there, jumping the gun slightly, but I think as far as Spain go, Luis Enrique will want them to come out with that type of energy they showed at the beginning of this game, the start of the first half, when they were pressing well, they were winning the ball back quickly. Again, they didn't create a huge amount of chances from it, but they got a bit of fortune from the own goal, of course, and they want to try and prevent Switzerland from coming out this second half and building up a bit of head of steam, because I think they did grow in confidence as that first half progressed, so they want to try and put them back in their box, as it were. Cross into the box here, they might arrive at the far post, and it's Alba who heads it behind his goalkeeper Simon. I'm quite sure what he was thinking there, whether he was attempting to keep that in play or whether he thought he might have been sneaking in at his near post, but yeah, ultimately it was behind the line anyway by the time he got a hand to it.
So a little bit of pressure then, and Shaqiri goes across. He's having a good game, Xherdan Shaqiri. And can he get his delivery right? There have been two headers so far from the Swiss, neither on target. One from Akanji, and think Seferovic as well. Oh, and it was Vidma. Anyway, Spain on the ball and all that comes to nothing. By the time I think about who has had headers for them, the chances come and gone, and they need to do a little bit better with their possession of the ball. Ferran Torres holds it up and then into the middle of the park. It looks like everybody's getting a touch. So again, it's where we were in the first half. Really, is Pau Torres is over the halfway line. And then there was a little foul from Zakaria in the middle. And Bobby has got some super stats about the own goals in the tournament, but told me a funny thing about somebody who'd had a bet on no own goals in the tournament. Go on, Bob.
Your bets on own goals, no own goals in the tournament, and first goal of the tournament rules you out. But you're right about in terms of the amount we've seen in this tournament. I'll just see how this move plays out with Torres breaking down the right. It might fall for Morata, miscontrolled, still alive in the box, and Switzerland managed to get a foot in. But more own goals in this European Championships than there have been in every single European Championships building up to it. It's been remarkable, really, the way it's panned out. I don't know if there's any sort of science or reasoning behind it, or whether it's just the way that it's played out, really. But I suppose the tone was set, wasn't it? First goal of the competition, Merih Demiral putting through his own net when Turkey went down to Italy, and from there on out it just seems to have leaked own goals, really. A couple of, three goalkeepers have put into the back of their own net, and several outfield players.
Yeah, Dubravka's was the best, wasn't it, slapping it in. But my other thought is just when you think you've got things pegged, it's like, you don't see many own goals anymore. And my other thought then would be, players don't miss penalties too much anymore. And in the tournament, it's just been, we've seen a stack of that. I mean, weirdly, then you get a really good, penalty shootout, and that was between Switzerland and France, where the first 9 went in, and they were all super penalties until Mbappe got there. But anyway, we'll just break off here. Is Olmo a chance to take on Vidma now down the left-hand side. He's got to be the edge of the box. He turns, he puts a good ball in, and leaning back for the header. Koke can't do anything with that, but it was good work by Dani Olmo.
Yeah, nice and bright down that left-hand side. He's been brought on to maybe just inject a little something into this game, and he's a very talented player. Dani Olmo, one of those that sort of flitted around all the big clubs as a youth player, and has now found himself in Germany and playing in the Bundesliga with RB Leipzig. So he's very highly rated, and into the Spanish side of late. I want more energy from him in this second half, and it was a decent delivery in. Koke having to sort of stretch an arc back to make the most of it. But it's into the right area, and Spain will hope that he can give them something more to play off in this second period.
Laporte a bit of defending to do, and he does well, but Elvedi now comes over the halfway line down the right hand side. He tries to get the cross in. That's taking the deflection. It will be a throw in for Switzerland at the edge of Spain's area, deep in Spanish territory. I guess Luis Enrique will be pleased that Unai Simon has not had a save to make. But they haven't quite taken this game away from the feisty Swiss just yet. And Shaqiri's playing well, and while he is, they've got a good opportunity because he really can pull the strings. And when you see him like he is today, captain's armband on everywhere seemingly for them, lovely touches or what have you. I just think it's a shame he's at Liverpool, because there'd be a load of clubs who would want to make him their main man and have him the key cog, and it's nice to see him like this.
It is. I think it's sometimes questioned, isn't it, his commitment and whether he really does care enough about clubs, and maybe that's why he's been at the big clubs and then drops down to a smaller club as the corner almost goes directly in there. I think looked to whip it towards that near post and catch Simon by surprise. There definitely looks some intent there. Simon was well off his line and having to backtrack it. He didn't quite make it beyond that near post. It went straight into the side netting. But with the captain's armband on, as you say, he's almost brought a better lease of life out of him. He's had a good tournament. He often does perform for Switzerland. He scored more goals than anyone else at tournament football for Switzerland, for his country. So he's a man that they turn to, and set pieces. He's got that great delivery to either bring others into the game or have a pop at goal himself.
Yeah, he's a good player. Anyway, ball down with Azpilicueta, then Laporte, and then Pau Torres, who goes all the way back to Unai Simon, and then Koke. Just about got away with his back pass there. Azpilicueta picks it up, and again Spain on the ball. Pedri, little half turn from him, and the ball goes out to Olmo. Dani Olmo, side foot back inside, controlling play at the minute. Busquets now. Koke at the edge of the area. Real opportunity here for Spain. Azpilicueta to Ferran Torres. Exchanging passes, more importantly, keep the ball. They're 1-0 up, but they're probably looking to test and probe and try and get that second. Certainly they're not in a mood to sit back just yet, and I think they'll need more than the one goal at any point. What I noticed with them in the tournament is they kind of go and do what they need to do. You know, at 0-0 they tend to be the team, you know, forcing the pace and looking for the goal. You know, sometimes they've sat back on leads, which is quite a natural thing to do. But generally speaking, while it's fairly level, they tend to be the team that's on top. We're going to see Morata go off now and Gerard Moreno come on, and that's a bit of a surprise.
Yeah, he's sort of stuck with Morata, hasn't he, even when he's not been scoring the goals in this competition, and he then went and scored at a crucial one against Croatia last time out. So a little bit of a shock there that he has decided to switch things around. Gerard Moreno probably came into this squad thinking he would get a little bit more game time. He had a great season with Villarreal, helping them to win the Europa League, of course. 30 goals in 46 games across all competitions last season, so he was a man in form, and big chance for him now to come on and with Morata not scoring regularly, maybe even stake a claim if Spain get through for a starting role in the semi-finals.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a little bit surprised though by that. Nothing should surprise me now. I mean, Morata not had necessarily a great game, had he? Well, this time Shaqiri is trying to get Zuber in down the left-hand side. It wasn't a bad ball, and some last-ditch defending there from Pau Torres. Make sure that, in fact, it was Laporte. Make sure the ball goes out. Rodriguez takes it short to Shaqiri. Good ball in at the near post. That's headed away by Moreno. I think it was at that near post. And I'll tell you what, he's working overtime, Shaqiri, to try and try and get something going. Corner kick about to come in. Akanji looks like he's desperate to get on it. Ball goes deeper than that, and then a header goes back across the face. Oh, and dearie me, Denis Zakaria may have thought he'd equalised there.
Yeah, what a way that would have been to atone for the own goal. It's a real good delivery, and Simon looked more comfortable than anyone else out there on the pitch. I suppose he probably had the best view of it, but it's headed back across goal from Zakaria, who is beyond the far post, climbs so well above the Spanish defenders. I think it's Koke who was closest to him. It's only about a yard wide of that far post in the end. I just wonder if Simon had either given up hope that he was ever going to get across there, and he was praying that it was going to go the wrong side of the woodwork as far as Switzerland are concerned, or whether he just believed it wasn't going to test his goal and he was going to be absolutely fine. But that's where they're threatened from, isn't it, Switzerland, in this game? We said in the first half they had 2 or 3 chances. They all came from corners. They'd not really managed to find the target from them, and they've still not found the target, but they're edging ever closer. And with the delivery from Shaqiri being pretty good and some big target men to aim for, that's a worry for Spain.
Yeah, it is. Still just at 1-0 then. In St. Petersburg, here's Shaqiri again. He's running the show for the Swiss. Finds Zuber left-hand side. Cross comes in. Big deflection there of Azpilicueta. We've seen Morata leave the field of play. He did score against Croatia. That counts for nothing. Moreno played no part in this game, but he has come on. And I don't know whether they're just a little bit nervous, Spain, but anyway, just try to play their football and get back on the ball and do what comes naturally, which is controlling play. I don't think there's any need for them to panic at a goal up, but yeah, just some odd things going on there, particularly that substitution. I thought when he scored against Croatia, I thought, well, that's it then, that's his tournament underway, and we know how important goals are. The lunging challenge from Elvedi on Olmo.
To see a booking come out in this game either. I don't think it's been too physical so far. I wonder if that might change as the game goes on a little bit more. Switzerland are going to get more and more desperate to win possession back and have to try and nibble away. If they see a slight opportunity to nick the ball, there'll be legs dangled out. This time it's American Laporte who's just muscled off the ball by Seferovic. Again, no booking shown in his direction. Well, to just share the challenges out, I suppose, at this point. But approaching an hour now, Michael Oliver, I think, will have to dip into that book sooner rather than later.
Yeah, no, he may or he may not, but just more likely as teams get a little bit more desperate, and if you're Switzerland and maybe they go 2 goals down, you won't mind if you kick 5 minutes to go, do you? It tends to be that players lose their head. Here's a chance for Spain, and in the end a chance for Ferran Torres. Takes the ball on his chest pretty well, but then it's fairly well defended by Seferovic, who makes sure that his shot's blocked away. That was a really good block by Seferovic, wasn't it? That ball might have been going in.
Yeah, threw his body in the way there, turned his back, but it all matters the same, doesn't it? Anything on it to turn it away from the target, but it was a good delivery into the box. I think the issue for Torres was it sort of popped off the top of his chest and then took an age to come down, so he had to go acrobatically and couldn't really get an effort away without the defender getting his body on the line.
Well, Spain take the corner kick short. They've still got a loaded box though. Can they get the ball in there? Trying to play around the back, but that's a very heavy touch, and it's going to be a goal kick. In St. Petersburg, it's still Switzerland 0, Spain 1. We've seen Alvaro Morata go off, replaced by Gerard Moreno. Dani Olmo's come on for Sarabia as well. He's had a shot at the keeper and then put a good cross in just slightly behind Koke. We've seen Torres, a bicycle kick just recently. Switzerland keep on trying, and Shaqiri's pulling the strings. Tried a shot from a corner kick that didn't quite work out. And then from a corner we've seen Denis Zakaria with a header just wide.
So a goal kick to get us back underway. Yeah, Sommer, the big boot downfield, substitute, first half substitute for Switzerland. Vargas, who glances it on. Spain win it back momentarily, and then Ricardo Rodriguez has to hook it away under pressure inside his own half. 7 attempts for Switzerland, still yet to hit the target. 5 attempts for Spain, they've hit the target once. It's not been a match where goalkeepers have been called into action too often. I hope this isn't setting the tone for these quarter-final ties that are set to be played out over the course of today and tomorrow. You can hear all of those games on this service. The 8 p.m. kickoff this evening is Belgium against Italy. The double-header again to come on Saturday, a 5 p.m. which is Czech Republic against Denmark, and then the 8 p.m. game, Ukraine against England. So again, clearing away, he's found touch, and Spain can get us back underway with a throw in just over an hour gone.
Yeah, I'm getting a double dose of that tomorrow, and I'll certainly be watching the game tonight. There's a lot on it. You can tell by the teams that go through the jubilation and the tears at this stage of the teams that go out. To get so far, for some teams it's incredible, it's massive. I mean, for England, the celebrations, I think we're probably over the top a little bit. But that's probably because they tend not to beat Germany in a knockout competition. Elsewhere, I guess that maybe the Spanish fans will think it's a bit of a rite of passage. Although the French fans will have assumed that they would have made it a little bit further, wouldn't they? But it's Switzerland who've taken their place, and so. With all due respect to them, maybe it would have been a bit more of a showpiece, France against Spain, but it is what it is. They couldn't beat the Swiss on that great penalty shootout, and so that's it. For Switzerland, they've been on the back foot pretty much when they're trying to get forward. Shaqiri's playing well, but they need a few more balls from wide to get Seferovic into the game. That's not really happening for them. So I don't know what Vladimir Petkovic has got up his sleeve, but I think he needs a plan B. Anyway, the ball with Olmo just the edge of the air, and he's won himself a corner kick there. The ball coming off Ruben Vargas, who has not done a right lot since he's come on for Bril Embolo, and I think the loss of their skipper Granit Xhaka, the loss of Embolo, I think these are things that have hit Switzerland hard.
Yeah, it's hard to cope, isn't it, with as you say, losing a talisman in Granit Xhaka, but it's the danger that you always seem to have when you've got someone of his type of temperament. He can give you a performance, as we saw against France, but that also comes with the caveat that he's probably going to get his foot in on more than one occasion, and cards toss up, just 2 seeing him ruled out of this game.
Corner kick then for Spain. Ball comes in, headed away by Kanye at the near post. Good header that, but it didn't go any further despite Remo Freuler getting his head on that. Ball goes backwards, but it's Spain's ball again. It's a beauty kick out from Simon to find Olmo, who does really well to control it. And the ball for Jordi Alba, tries to turn into the box. That's good defending by Elvedi. Comes across and like candy off a baby, he read that really well. And that's magic again from Shaqiri. And now Zuber makes a good break. Vargas down the left-hand side. Opportunity then for Switzerland. Into the box they go. A little step over. Ball still through for Zuber. And at the near post, a save by Simon. No conviction in this shot, but he nearly caught the keeper by surprise, Bobby. Nearly an equaliser.
Yeah, well, that was much better from Vargas. As you said before, we haven't seen a great deal from him in the game, but nice trickery and a little flick through the legs. It skips up in towards Zubu, who was just stretching, as you say. He didn't get a great deal of purchase on it because he's got 2 defenders coming towards him, and it's just get something, promote it goalwards. Simon parries away at his near post. I think he was expecting a firmer shot. Probably could have caught it had he have known it was just going to loop up so kindly for him, but the corner to come.
Rodriguez then with the corner up, go the heads, and it comes off one of those white-shirted Spanish players. All in white today, Spain, as white as Graham Souness's teeth. Anyway, Switzerland out of the ball with Rodriguez. He must have asked Roberto Firmino where he got his teeth done, and he got the same place at Souness, who's on the ITV panel, which I found watching the ITV Euro 2020 coverage a bit painstaking and worthy, and not much fun really. Anyhow, BBC seems to have got it a little bit measured, or more measured. Ball into the box here. Akanji gets there ahead of Sommer and deals with it, and had he not dealt with it properly, his goalkeeper's off his line there. Anyway, Spain win the ball back, but it's about the halfway line. Azpilicueta to Ferran Torres, steps on his inside, and then he runs through the middle. Rodriguez didn't know whether stick or twist with him there, but the ball is back with Dani Olmo, who is playing more like a traditional sort of wide out left wing role than we saw from Sarabia. So now the ball down the left. Moreno does well to volley it back so that Spain can keep hold of the ball, but they're going backwards, and it's happy to go backwards and forwards, it seems, Bobby. And it's almost like where's the killer instinct? I think the problem when you're Spain is that there's a virtue in playing keep ball, and after a while, that becomes what you do rather than try and get a goal. As Vidmer oversteps the mark. You said there was going to be a yellow card, and there it was.
Yeah, too much after, was it? Just oversteps the mark slightly there. I think it's an honest enough challenge, but it is mistimed. It comes down on the top of the foot of Sergio Busquets, and Michael Oliver feeling that the time is right. He's seen enough, and first card of the game comes out, so he's got to be careful for the remainder. He's not one of those that was walking the tightrope. Should Switzerland go through, he will still be able to play in the semi-final.
Here's Ferran Torres, good looking ball into the box. Just too deep. Elvedi chested back to his keeper. In fact, it was Vidmer. Good cool defending. Looked a decent ball off Ferran Torres' toe. Ball now with the Vidmer, but Olmo gets to him. And that means that Spain get the ball back. Keep ball for its own sake is really boring to watch, isn't it? We saw Mikel Arteta do a little bit of that for Arsenal this season, and I just thought, well, that's back to the future. Nobody wants that. You know, there's a place for it, I think, in tight tournament football, though, as this San Marino doesn't keep the ball, but they quickly win it back, and Busquets tidies up. And then he gives the ball away, Seferovic. And the ball flicked over the top, real opportunity for Switzerland. Shaqiri rolls it into the back of the net. And Switzerland have equalised. It is Xherdan Shaqiri. Who else? That was out of nothing. Trying to play keep ball, intricate. Busquets lost it, and the rest is history.
Yeah, that is a real bit of misfortune at the back for Spain. They should have had it dealt with. They should have cleared their lines. They didn't. And next thing you know, Xherdan Shaqiri strokes home from close range to get Switzerland back in this game. We spoke about how they managed to show courage and fight back against France. It's not quite as dramatic this time around. Only one goal behind, but they're on terms again. It's just a simple ball over the top. Across comes Laporte. He plays it onto Pau Torres. It bounces into the path of Remo Freuler just after picking up that yellow card, and he squares it neatly for Shaqiri to do the rest. It's through the legs of Azpilicueta and into the back of the net. Switzerland 1, Spain 1.
Yeah, it's a lovely right foot strike. And you know he's not going to mess up. I think he anticipates that, doesn't he? It's like, well, I'm waiting for these guys to make a mess. But points to his head, Shaqiri, saying, think about it, it's what we've got to do. Out of nothing then. All that keep ball, Bobby. And I tell you what, it just becomes for its own sake, and you forget that you need the other goal. They need it now anyway. And it is one apiece. At St. Petersburg, well, game on now. Switzerland have got the equaliser. It didn't look like it was coming, but Spain were just playing a little bit too much intricate keep ball. Looked like they were going nowhere. It looked like Busquets had given it away. Then there was a mistake by Laporte and Torres. The ball broke kindly into the box, and Shaqiri was not going to have a second look. A lovely right foot finish, rolled it into the back of the net past Simon for one apiece.
That goal makes Xherdan Shaqiri the joint sixth highest scorer in the history of the Swiss national team, taking his tally overall now to 26, and joining Adrian Nup on that tally as well. Still some way to go to try and match the all-time leading scorer in Alexander Frey with 42 goals, but he's definitely a key figure in this side, leading by example today. Captain's armband on, and he stepped up. As said throughout this game, he's been the most threatening player in the red of Switzerland, and here he plays one out to the left-hand side, looking for a teammate in the shape of Steven Zuber. It's slightly overhit and will go out for the Spanish throw. Now it's what Spain do from here, because Switzerland aren't going to change their game plan. They will remain tight, they will remain organised and disciplined at the back, and look to hit on the counter if the opportunity presents itself. But having come through one bout of extra time and penalty shootout against France, they will be by no means afraid of going all the way to that stage once again if it's what's required. Spain, however, might well feel that they want to try and get this wrapped up in normal time, so maybe we're going to see a bit more urgency from them in this final 20 minutes. I suppose the difficulty is, if you've gone into your shell a little bit, as Spain had done, to then try and come back out of it with not so long left in the game.
Yeah, it's right. I believe that they're a really talented team, but what happens when you're perhaps a goal up is all of a sudden keeping the ball is more important than looking for a second, but you're not killed the game off, and then you get the big slap in the face. It's a series there of unfortunate events, wasn't it? Busquets loose ball back, then there's a bit of defending to do. Laporte clears it onto Pau Torres. Oh, the ball breaks back, and then there were red shirts in the box there. But unluckily for Spain, that ball drops to Shaqiri. One thing he's shown throughout his career is that he knows how to finish. Very sloppy from Spain, according to Dion Dublin, and I quite agree. But now it's their opportunity to get back on it. And it's all that messing about as well, isn't it? Oh, I'm going to take Sarabi off, and I'll take Morata off, and I'll do this and that. Now they need to do something. But the ball is with Switzerland again, who are breaking down the field now. In the end, I just think Steven Zuber showing too much. And has lost the ball, but it's won back by Rodriguez. Here, another opportunity for Switzerland. A little give and go. Zuber heads it back across the face, and cleared by Laporte. But, well, Spain have not got this one at all. It's one apiece, and, well, they've been super sloppy there, and that was hearts and mouths time for Luis Enrique's team.
Yeah, I mean, who thought the game was going to play out like this when we had that own goal in the early stages? I fully expected Spain to kick on from that. They didn't. They've made changes, as you say, as the match has progressed, and maybe not the right changes it could potentially turn out to be. Ball forward here to Ferran Torres. I'm certain he was offside then. The flag does eventually go up, as I think there was another offside that swiftly followed. But this could go absolutely anywhere now, really, couldn't it? Switzerland creating chances, and that good delivery into the box there. Just over 15 minutes left. We could be set for a cracker.
Well, yeah, I'm enjoying it. I picked Spain. They were sort of my dark horses for the tournament, but we watched the first half and I thought, well, to be honest, would we want Spain to go much further? Playing all this, incessant keep ball, boring. It is boring to watch. And at times it's pointless. I don't mind, and they wouldn't care if they bored our pants off and went and won the trophy, but the problem there is that they just were happy padding the ball about, and all of a sudden it's come back to bite them. Here's Dani Olmo, beautiful ball to put him round the back. They're forced to do something a bit better now, but again, it's a good defending by Widmer, but they play the ball out. Jordi Alba will watch it out. Spain have it back. I think it's the jab in the ribs that Spain needed to get them cracking on again. But now, if they want to kill the game in 90 minutes, they've got a job on their hands, and it's just giving that bit more energy to those tired legs of the Swiss, who've been struggling to get on the ball. Here again, Spain playing through the middle. And Koke had it, and then they find Moreno. And now Azpilicueta, and he rolls it across the face, but there's nobody there. Ferran Torres said it should have come to me, but Jordi Alba picks it up, and it looked a good ball to my mind, but I suppose you've got to pick one of those white shirts out.
You have. You've got to be more accurate. We'll go back to what I said before as well, the fact that Spain have had so much possession in this competition. They've averaged more than they had at a competition since 1980, and you think how people were complaining about them being a little bit tentative with the ball at times when they won the Euros in 2008 and 2012. Well, they've gone even beyond that now, and it's okay if you're winning matches, but if you start to retreat into your shell as they have done today and passing for passing's sake, then you're going to face the criticism of it.
Here they go. They got Dani Olmo into the box, and he goes down, but it's no penalty, and I think he's trying to get his cross in, blocked by either Widmer or Elvedi. Elvedi's had a good game, hasn't he? But it's Widmer who did really well there. Don't forget he's on a yellow card, but he made sure he couldn't get that cross in. It blocks it away. That will be a corner kick. And more urgency required from Spain now. Well, to show everybody they're a good team as Laporte and Pau Torres now into the box. There's no Morata. Moreno's at the near post. He's not quite as tall as the man he's replaced. I'm still waiting for that corner kick. Don't know what we're waiting for. Anyway, they've taken it short. Jordi Alba now on the ball, just the edge of the area. And now the cross comes in from Koke. It's a decent ball in, and very close to getting on the knee of Pau Torres and into the back of the net, but he had to fight for that, and he just couldn't get the purchase on the ball at the end.
Yeah, I feared for a moment we might be getting another own goal there. It was Zuba who was going back towards his own goal frame and trying to get ahead of Torres. Oh, that's a strong challenge. Michael Oliver's gone straight to the back pocket. The red card's out.
Oh, it looks like Freuler, doesn't it? He can't believe it. The referee's has shown that, and I think Remo Freuler's waiting for VAR to bail him out. It's not like Michael Oliver to be chucking red cards around, but Moreno is still down on the deck. Oh, he could have broken his ankle. I think the referee's bang right there, Bob. I don't know what Freuler's going on about, but it's a disgusting challenge, that.
Yeah, there's absolutely no control in it whatsoever, is there? He comes sliding from such a distance there, and he sort of catches him with one leg that's planted down on the floor, but then the studs of the following foot come through, and they're just above the ankle at the bottom end of the shin. And it looked one in real time where it looked strong, it looked a very dangerous tackle, and then you watch it back on the replay and they never help your case when it's slowed down, and rightly so. I think Michael Oliver, as you say, doesn't often go to his pocket for a red card, but he had absolutely no hesitation, blew his whistle, immediately marched over, the hand was already going to the back pocket, and it was straight out with the red. I don't think he's going to get any help from VAR, and that is the last thing that Switzerland needed. They just got themselves back into this game. Now they find themselves on level terms, but a man down. I wonder how this is going to shape up now, because, well, Switzerland are only going to drop deeper and deeper and get into a more of a defensive shape, aren't they? Have Spain got the tools to break them down?
Yeah, attacking against defence right now. We'll have a little bit of a recap what we've just seen after this next free kick. Koke stood over the ball. They're all in the box. Happily enough, Moreno is all right. He could have broken his ankle with that. I don't know. And Rebo Freuler's there. He's flinging his hands in the air. I think he needs to watch what he's just done on the TV. He'd be sending himself off anyway. Koke with the ball in up, got a head, but that's nodded wide. In St. Petersburg in the first quarter-final of Euro 2020. It's one apiece, but Switzerland have been reduced in number. They're down to 10 men. Remo Freuler sent off by the referee Michael Oliver for what, quite frankly, was a disgusting challenge on Gerard Moreno, who'd not been on long. Scything through him, he was over the top of the ball into the ankles of the opposition player, and it was a straight red, no bothering with VAR. So hard work now for Switzerland.
A goal kick to get us back underway, and expect lots of slowing down of the game now in these types of situations from Switzerland. Throw-ins, breaks in play. They'll do everything they can to edge themselves towards that full-time whistle. Spain can't find themselves in a better position, surely, with a man advantage and 10 minutes left to play. Here they are on the ball in midfield with Koke. He's just taken too long on it. He wants a free kick. Michael Oliver's not interested. Switzerland working across the midfield, shifting it through to Vargas and out to the right-hand side further, where it's in the possession of Widmer. Down the line for Vargas, who had continued his run and offers his services. Switzerland are held up by Pau Torres, who will put it into touch for the throw-in. This game's had plenty on it. At times it's maybe not really had all the senses thriving, but we've had a red card, we've had an own goal, the comeback from Switzerland, and I wonder if there is to be one more final twist in this tale before we get to that full-time whistle.
Well, you never know, do you? But one apiece, you know. Dare I say it? We haven't mentioned it first half, so I guess I can. Extra time, penalties looming large. You proper jinx yourself, don't you? You say it first half, but I think by now we're allowed to, and Shaqiri now will go off. Off time doesn't last 90 minutes. He's played his part today, though, and it's a shame for Switzerland. He's got to go off. Djibril Sow will come on, and maybe again it's a sacrifice, but it's such a shame that, really.
It is that someone's got to be sacrificed, and you wonder if, looking down at the team sheet, there was maybe anyone else out there that they could have turned to. Not only has Shaqiri got the experience and everything from his time in the Premier League and in the Bundesliga, but he's also got the technical ability and a goal-scoring touch on him, as we've seen in this game. So it's difficult, I suppose, the position that Vladimir Petkovic has been placed under now, that he's got to make these types of changes.
Yeah, Gavranovic is coming on as well, and that's for Haris Seferovic, so they're trying to freshen things up. Gavranovic knows where the back of the net is, plays for Dinamo Zagreb, and Djibril Sow is yet another one who plays football in Germany. This time he's at Frankfurt, so he plays where Zuber plays. Anyway, it's Spain back on the ball and looking to get back on top. A game that they had the lead of, and that seemingly have given away. But anyway, Switzerland have kept on going. Anyhow, Switzerland won, Spain won, but Switzerland down to 10 men is going to make life doubly difficult. This last 9 minutes or so is going to seem more like 30, I would have thought. Anyway, can he reach the play there? Zuber gets the ball away, but again Koke goes to pick it back up, and eventually Aspilicueta goes and helps out. there have been 6 red cards shown at Euro 2020. That's as many as Euro 2012 and Euro 26 combined. Seemingly, Bobby, we're getting more of everything. We'll just cut off because into the box now goes Spain. An opportunity to shot inside netting. And referee Michael Oliver is giving a push then from Ferran Torres. And he can't have too many arguments about that. And actually, Bobby, Michael Oliver's had quite a good game.
Yeah, I think there's a lot been said about the refereeing at the competition, hasn't there? I know you've got your opinion on one or two of them, but for the most part, I think it's been pretty good. Not too many decisions you would highlight and say they've spoiled games or really been majorly controversial. VAR itself has also been really well managed. It's not been the horror show we sometimes see in the Premier League. It's been smooth and swift and not had lengthy waits for decisions and sort of those slim offsides that we see seemingly every game in the Premier League. It's sort of aided the football rather than really impacted it.
So, Spain back on the ball and trying to work it down the left with almost in a lot of the ball. Vidman's done pretty well against him. Vargas comes to help him out. There's Moreno. Just trying to get a feel for the ball, really. I've not seen much of it since he's come on. The ball with Azpilicueta now fairly central for him. And now we're looking to play give and go. Busquets a good ball. The ball out to Moreno out on the right-hand side. Little flick ball in. Then a shot driven across the face by Koke. Not cleared away. Now a shot comes in, but Moreno's shot straight at the goalkeeper.
Pedri it was with the little flick off there. Nice play out wide initially from Moreno, and he continues his run to loop around edge of the box as Koke's shot was half cleared. Pedri with the tip, and he just gets it too much under his feet. I think he's not quite settled enough to get a clean connection on it. It's always looping back round to the goalkeeper. Needed to be forcing that one wide to really test Sommer. And that's better from Spain. I mean, we said that they've got to be proactive. They've got the man advantage. They need to use it to their advantage. And already there we're seeing a good opening. If they can get the bodies forward and keep Switzerland on the back foot while pulling the strings and moving the ball at tempo, then the openings will be there.
Yep, but time not on their side now. If they want to get it done in 90. I think Spain need to get it sorted more quickly. They don't want to be in a penalty shootout with a team who's managed to knock France out, who took 5 good penalties last time. That's 5 men who were really confident. Although, and of course, the one man who wouldn't be is their penalty taker, Ricardo Rodriguez, the Torino man who missed a penalty in open play. I don't think he was one of the 5 at the end anyway. I can't remember. It seems a long time ago now. Here comes Spain. Anyway, shot from deep, big deflection this time, but well, it helps out the goalkeeper this time rather than thwarting him. Laporte's shot came off the head of Elvedi, then onto the boot end of Torres, but he made it easy for Sommer.
Yeah, he wasn't one of the 5 penalty takers, you're right. It didn't fall to him in the end, so yeah, they managed to avoid any mistakes, I suppose, the second time around with Rodriguez when it came to that shootout with France.
But if you think you're the better team, you don't want it to. I mean, it's not a lottery penalty shootout, but there's nothing to say that the Swiss will be worse than Spain. Spain is all about technical ability. Good players play keep ball. That's fine, But penalties is a different story, and the Swiss have already shown that they can be pretty good at it. So Spain need to get this sorted out. Anyway, ball now with Azpilicueta. Don't forget, Switzerland have 1 man less, but Busquets took his eye off the ball. You're not going to win like that. And an enterprising run by Gavranovic, and he had long on the ball there, probably longer than he thought, as Sau gets the first touch now. And now the ball just to the edge of the area, and the 10 men of Switzerland giving it a right go there, but they've overcommitted. I fancied there. What's the referee giving? There's a Spanish player down, so we're wiping time off the clock. It's not like a penalty or anything like that. Jordi Alba down in his own box. What happened to him? Well, comes to clear it, and he falls into Gavranovic, and he's right into the back of his elbow. He's bound to hurt that.
Yeah, it's a sore one, isn't it? It's sort of the top of the forearm into the elbow that comes into the head of Alba. And I don't think there was any intent there from the Swiss substitute Gavranovic. He's just almost trying to protect himself because, as you said, it was Alba more falling into him. So puts his arms out there to sort of stop Alba landing on his legs and maybe causing injury. But I suppose the disappointment for Spain is that the play had to be stopped. It's a head injury. They were looking to try and mount an attack at that point. They've got the ball forward towards the halfway line. Alba's now up on his feet and he looks as though he's going to be all right. He'll have to leave the field of play for a moment. Spain appear to be making or preparing another change too, with 5 allowed, and Luis Enrique looking to further freshen things up.
Yep. Al Shaqiri's got an ice pack on his right knee. But I thought he was excellent today. Took his goal pretty well. Freuler got the assist for that, but 0-0. Then he absolutely chopped down Marino. Could have broken his ankle, and Oliver showed a red card. I just read something on social media that was saying, you know, had Michael Oliver shown a yellow card, VAR wouldn't have done anything about it. You know, they felt it was up to him. But I feel, looking at that challenge, that VAR would have overturned it, and he would have said, "Do you want to come look at this?" I think it was that bad a challenge, and the thing was, he spotted it anyway. But so there's always one or two who think you're hard done by when there's something like that happens. But it was a shocking challenge, really.
Yeah, it was not nice to see at all. It was out of control and it was dangerous, as you said. It could have broken a leg. It didn't, and that's the fortunate thing. But he's got to be punished, hasn't it? There was lots of people complaining about the sending off a few nights ago involving Ukraine and Sweden, but that one, I think, in the end was right as well. By the letter of the law, that the red card had to come out, and we go back to what we said before. The referees have done a pretty good job at this competition, and for me that remains true with.
Pasnya tengah nyicip problem.
Extra time. Anyway, 4 minutes of added time we've got. I think that you'd have to make Spain warm favourites, you know, now they've got half an hour left to play. But the fact that Switzerland get closer to another penalty shootout, you can't sort of discard them yet either.
You can't, and they have defended well for majority of this game, so it's not going to come as a shock to them that they're going to have to sit in and try and hold tight, plug any gaps for what will be a 30-minute period of extra time. They've done it for 90. They conceded one, which you make the argument was unlucky in itself. A shot from the edge of the box that wickedly deflected and found its way into the back of the net. So they haven't really had a great deal to do when it's come to inside their own penalty area. They've restricted Spain to outside the box in wide areas. Not a great deal has come through the middle this evening, and they'll be confident that they can do that for another 30 minutes. Of course, tired legs and fatigue then starts to play its part a little bit, but so far so good for them.
Yeah, and we've just seen a couple of changes, haven't we? Christian Fastnacht has come on for Zuber, so he'll be keen to get involved. I think they're overdoing it with the amount of substitutions personally. I think it makes it a little bit silly, really, and really messy at the end. Anyway, here's Azpilicueta. Moreno now on the ball. He puts the ball in. It's a shocking ball in. He may have had a good season, but he's not done well since he's come onto the field.
No, not massively. I think he struggled to get up and involved with the pace of the game, but I think you could say that about a few of the Spanish substitutes. Olmo looked good when he initially came on, but he hasn't managed to continue that.
No, I think that Widmer's done a pretty good job on him. I was thinking if I were going to take players out for Switzerland today, well, clearly
we know about Shaqiri, and he's one of their key cogs, but I thought Vidmer and Elvedi, two good players, as Laporte picks up a yellow card now. Strong and coming through the back of the man who's one of the men who's just come on, but I think through Gavranovic, and an elbow right to the back of his head there.
Yeah, it's a bit of a sore one, isn't it? And the yellow card coming out to follow as well, and again it just plays into Switzerland's hands. You see Rodriguez here with the free kick, and he sort of steps up and steps back and readjusts and checks every angle out before just launching it forward and getting Switzerland where they want to be, as far away from their goal as possible.
Bit of head tennis going on. Switzerland trying their best to get bodies up the field and do something remarkable. There's only a minute left though of this game before we get that extra half an hour. Zakaria, it seems a long time since his own goal, but there's a foul from him. Spain want to crack on immediately, and off they go with Azpilicueta. Moreno's on his right hand side, and he picks up the ball. Little ball round the corner, and now they're looking to get a cross in with Llorente. Marcus Llorente, their first touch. Akanji stuck to his guns there, and the ball goes backwards. And you just get that feeling that we're booked in for that extra half hour. Unless Spain can score with this next attack. The ball to Jordi Alba. Cross comes in. And there was a foul in the box. And Rodriguez goes down. And Llorente bundled into him, really, knowing he was going to be second best to it.
A bit too desperate, wasn't he, to try and get on the end of that one. Hopeful ball into the box, and that is that, full time.
Yeah, so there we go. They can't separate them, one apiece, and that means that we're in for the added drama. I don't know who would be the favourites to go through now. Maybe they get to the penalty shootout. It'd be Switzerland, but in the next half hour, presumably you'd fancy Spain with one more play. We'll be back shortly. In St. Petersburg, after 90 minutes of play, it's Switzerland 1, Spain 1, so they're destined to go into extra time. Of course, for Spain, we saw Jordi Alba's shot deflected in by Denis Zakaria early. Spain were a bit too complacent, gave the ball away for Shaqiri and a right foot equaliser. But Switzerland reduced to 10 men. Remo Freul sent off at the one apiece after 90 minutes. In St. Petersburg, after 90 minutes of play, it's Switzerland 1, Spain 1, so they're destined to go into extra time. Of course, for Spain, we saw Jordi Alba's shot deflected in by Denis Zakaria early. Spain were a bit too complacent, gave the ball away for Shaqiri and a right foot equaliser. But Switzerland reduced to 10 men. Remo Freul sent off at the one apiece after 90 minutes. In St. Petersburg, after 90 minutes of play, it's Switzerland 1, Spain 1, so they're destined to go into extra time. Of course, for Spain, we saw Jordi Alba's shot deflected in by Denis Zakaria early. Spain were a bit too complacent, gave the ball away for Shaqiri and a right foot equaliser. But Switzerland reduced to 10 men. Remo Freul sent off at the one apiece after 90 minutes. In St. Petersburg, after 90 minutes of play, it's Switzerland 1, Spain 1, so they're destined to go into extra time. Of course, for Spain, we saw Jordi Alba's shot deflected in by Denis Zakaria early. Spain were a bit too complacent, gave the ball away for Shaqiri and a right foot equaliser. But Switzerland reduced to 10 men. Remo Freul sent off at the one apiece after 90 minutes. In St. Petersburg, after 90 minutes of play, it's Switzerland 1, Spain 1, so they're destined to go into extra time. Of course, for Spain, we saw Jordi Alba's shot deflected in by Denis Zakaria early. Spain were a bit too complacent, gave the ball away for Shaqiri and a right foot equaliser. But Switzerland reduced to 10 men. Remo Freul sent off at the one apiece after 90 minutes. In St. Petersburg, after 90 minutes of play, it's Switzerland 1, Spain 1, so they're destined to go into extra time. Of Of course, for Spain, we saw Jordi Alba's shot deflected in by Denis Zakaria early. Spain were a bit too complacent, gave the ball away for Shaqiri and a rightful equaliser. But Switzerland reduced to 10 men. Remo Freuler sent off at the 1 apiece after 90 minutes. In St. Petersburg, after 90 minutes of play, it's Switzerland 1, Spain 1, so they're destined to go into extra time. Of course, for Spain, we saw Jordi Alba's shot deflected in by Denis Zakaria early. Spain were a bit too complacent, gave the ball away for Shaqiri and a rightful equaliser. But Switzerland reduced to 10 men. Remo Freuler sent off at the 1 apiece after 90 minutes. In St. Petersburg, after 90 minutes of play, it's Switzerland 1, Spain 1, so they're destined to go into extra time. Of course, for Spain, we saw Jordi Alba's shot deflected in by Denis Zakaria early. Spain were a bit too complacent, gave the ball away for Shaqiri and a rightful equaliser. But Switzerland reduced to 10 men. Remo Freuler sent off at the 1 apiece after 90 minutes. In St. Petersburg, after 90 minutes of play, it's Switzerland 1, Spain 1, so they're destined to go into extra time. Of course, for Spain, we saw Jordi Alba's shot deflected in by Denis Zakaria early. Spain were a bit too complacent, gave the ball away for Shaqiri and a rightful equaliser. But Switzerland reduced to 10 men. Remo Freuler sent off at the 1 apiece after 90 minutes. In St. Petersburg, after 90 minutes of play, it's Switzerland 1, Spain 1, so they're destined to go into extra time. And we're just about off then. So, yeah, real Brucey bonus this one. 30 minutes, possibility of penalties. It's all set up for the neutral, but if you backed either of these two teams to make it through, or backed them for the tournament, you'll be chewing your fingernails. And if you've got Switzerland, then you'll be chewing your fingernails but smiling as well at the same time, because they're still in it. You know, Bobby, they went a goal down and you thought, that could be it for them. They couldn't get the ball off Spain. And then, you know, the goal from Shaqiri has given them that little bit of hope. And, you know, they were always in it. Now down to 10 men. I guess for them it's like defend like mad, and let's hope we can take them to penalties.
Yeah, we could almost see the rally cry at that interval we had between full time and the start of this first extra time period. Vladimir Petkovic, the manager, in the middle of the huddle and trying to urge his troops on just to be firm and stick to their guns defensively, work as a unit. That's what it's all about now, isn't it? That togetherness and making sure that everyone sticks to their role. Anyone steps out of position and chases a loose ball and leaves a gap, then they're the ones culpable. So you don't want to be the one that leads to the mistake that sees your side out.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it was quite late in the piece where Freuler got his marching orders, 77 minutes. Had that been a bit earlier, you know, maybe the 60-minute mark, and I thought, well, that's, you know, a big ask, playing an hour with 10 men. We always get the feeling, though, this compartmentalised, you know, little passage of play. 15 minutes, surely we can hang on for that. Rodriguez having to defend, Oyarzabal, I just saw him on. Not sure when they...
Ferran Torres.
Yeah, not sure when they snuck him on. Anyway, ball out to left-hand side. The shot comes in, and, well, Gerard's shot from close in. I mean, he kicked the goalpost in the end, but should he have scored?
I think so. It's a great ball from Albert. Nice and low in towards that near post, and it just doesn't connect cleanly. I think it comes off the inside of the calf, and then the angle's all off. He gets that with the side of the foot, and maybe he sneaks it in at the near post. We said before about the form he'd been in domestically over the season. He hasn't been able to do that with the Spanish national side at this competition so far. When others have been finding the back of the net, he's not been able to, and it's a golden opportunity so early in this extra time period, as you say. 2 halves and 15, that puts them on the right path. They managed to do it against Croatia when it was pegged back to 3-3 and go on and win it in that additional time period, and that could have set them on their way once again.
Yep, anyway, ball with Pedri, and he looks for Olmo, who seems to be playing maybe a little bit more central now. Dani Olmo. brought Mikel Oyarzabal on. Here comes Spain again, just at the edge of the area. It might just break it for Moreno, looking to find a way through, but there's just massed ranks of red shirts there. But again, it's like the tide washing up on the beach here, wave after wave of it, and I wonder how long they can repel raids. As Vidma does well, and then he just boots the ball down the field. We know what we're seeing here. It's just last gasp defending, and they're just being resolute. There's no great desire to go forward. I just think they realise that they've just got to try and hang on in there, Switzerland.
They've got a couple of players on the touchline as well. It looks as though they're preparing 2 more substitutions. I think Babu was one of those, so another defensive reinforcement. I expect it's all going to be hands to the pump, isn't it? Maybe take off another attacking player and just really shut up shop as much as possible.
Yeah. So for Spain, they've made most of their changes, haven't they? We've seen Oyarzabal, Llorente, Moreno, and Olmo come on as Vargas runs away, and just feeling the back of his left leg. But anyway, they're working hard. Switzerland, they understand what it's about. They could be just 26 minutes away from a shootout, which they would have every thought that they could get through. They've got a brilliant goalkeeper, and they've got players who've got the experience. Been successful in the competition. Alvari's got some work to do now under pressure, but he gets there before Moreno, chips it down the line. That will do, won't it? And so attack and defence. Do you fancy Spain to go through in this half an hour, Bobby?
I don't, I'm seeing this one staying the same and set for penalties as Spain come forwards.
Well, every chance for Spain. Here they come, and a shot eventually blocked away. Chance for Jordi Alba now, and that's tipped over. In fact, who was that with the shot?
It was Alba, I think.
Yeah, he caught hold of that, didn't he?
Yeah, hits it nice and clean. With the flick over the crossbar, right-handed, nice and strong to put it away for the corner.
Yep, so Bobby doesn't fancy him. I'm not sure I do massively, but Spain will be knocking on the door. Here they go. Ball then nodded back across, but it's simple. I think there was a bit of pushing in the box, which is why nobody was overly bothered about Llorente getting on the end of that, but he didn't do much with it either. We're looking at Alba's shot, was going in. It's a beauty that he really caught it. Anyway, ball now. Busquets at the edge of the area. Not a man who tends to shoot, but he gets the ball out of his feet to Moreno, but he's got his pocket picked there. And then now they're trying to play their way out with Fasnacht, but he's giving the ball away. It's all Spain. Edge of the area now, maybe a chance. Then he almost, the deflected shot. Oh, that could have gone in.
It's great footwork from all. Yard for himself. It actually deflected off his own player in Gerard Moreno, so it's only going to be a goal kick. But yeah, again, Sommer was rooted to the spot going the wrong way, and could well have been caught out again for a second time in this match. Just going back to those substitutes waiting to come on for Switzerland as well. It's Kevin and Babu and Fabian Schär. Both of whom are already on yellow cards, by the way, so should they get another one, they'll miss the semi-final if Switzerland go through, but both are defenders. So the danger is that Vladimir Petkovic here goes all-out defence if he's taking off attack-minded players, and then all his penalty takers are going to be defenders. I wonder if that's going to come back to haunt them.
Well, pretty sure that Mbabu and Schär came on last time. I think Schär could take a penalty if needs be. I'm not sure he was in their selected penalty takers. I can't remember.
He did score one last time. He took the second penalty.
Did he?
Yeah.
Well, again, I mean, that doesn't hurt, does it? Get all your ducks in a row, and Schär comes on and then scores the winning penalty. Great, but I know what you mean. It's like, they can't all be defenders, can they? Anyway, since you said they weren't going to score, all Spain have done is attack, and here they go again. Ball round the back now. Jordi Alba tries to dab it in near post, little flick on there, and in the end, Sommer comes and gets it. And well, they're more than knocking at the door right now, Bobby.
They are. They're putting deliveries into the box. They're being much more or they're offering much more of a test for Switzerland to deal with than we saw throughout the majority of the game. Just looking down on the touchline, those two substitutes appear to have put the bibs on now, so it doesn't appear those changes are going to be made as soon as was initially expected. I know they've just been called back down, so maybe they've just had to put the bibs on while they're waiting for the moment to present itself, because the ball keeps coming back time after time from Spain here.
Yeah, it does, and an opportunity again for Spain. Good ball through the middle, good pick up by Moreno, lays it back to Olmo, then Alba, then Olmo at the edge of the area, just driven across, little heel that, good play by Moreno, and then Yesapal goes back, good ball into the box, a cut back, a chance down, a shot comes in, blocked by Akanji, and Switzerland is standing tall, Llorente shot blocked away.
Yeah, it was a nice little cut back there, and he just tries to sweep it towards the far post. He did have an opening at the near post, but it goes across goal, defender gets his body in the way.
So 10 minutes gone, and the header goes wide from Moreno. Well, it shots in into it. I mean, it honestly couldn't be more one-sided. Switzerland down to 10 men, just hanging on for grim life, but well, Spain will fancy it. It always came with the shoulder of Gerard Moreno.
Those two subs now, but that is poor, as you say, from Moreno. He just completely misjudges it, misses it with the head off the shoulder, half of the back as well in the process, and for the goal kicker. I just wonder if Spain are maybe forcing it a bit too much. I know, as you said, we're in that period of 15 minutes each half, and you feel as though time is slightly against you somewhat, but maybe a bit more patience with some of these openings they're trying to carve out. It all seems very hurried with that. You snatch at chances, you panic a little bit, you don't make the most of them.
Anyway, they are desperate, and there's a reason, isn't there? They don't want to go to penalties. They want the extra man to work out. So we've seen those two substitutions, and Shar's come on, who did score a penalty last time. So a bit of a talisman on his day. He's a good player, isn't he? As well. And Babu on for Vidma, who put a lot of effort into it. Shar officially on for Dennis Zakaria, who had a difficult game here. Spain have got through round the back, an opportunity, and a brilliant save by Sommer from Gerard Moreno, who could play all night and not score. I'm going to say that, and the next thing he's going to do is hit the back of the net, but wow, he's working hard and getting no luck, Moreno.
Yeah, we saw the ball over the top, and they were trying to deal with it initially through Ricardo Rodriguez, and he flicks it off the toes of one of the Spanish attackers into the path of Moreno. He flicks it to the target himself, and Sommer, almost at point-blank range, makes the big save.
Corner kick then for Spain. Ball across the face of Kanye, heads it away. He's standing up tall, all right, for his team. I think there'll be another corner from the other side now. Kanye getting there first, but they were all queuing up. I don't know if they can hold on. It's just an onslaught now. Olmo at the edge of the area. They made a right mess out the corner, but they get another chance, then that's blocked away by Jibril Sow, who came on for tonight's skipper, Zerdan Shaqiri. Olmo, another corner kick from the left-hand side, right-footed, be the in-swinger. Ball comes in. Sommer with a really good double fist, but there must have been a foul or something inside the box, because Michael Oliver's calling them all back, and that is just allowing a little bit of time off for Switzerland to regather their thoughts. One of the players was pushed to the ground there, and that was Kevin Mbabu. Welcome to the game.
I think it was. He was trying to muscle his way through from the edge of the area, and Mbabu going down to the ground probably didn't need much help to hit the deck. So Switzerland will take every opportunity to slow it down and gain an advantage if possible. The other end, I think, is Laporte, who's down on the floor clutching his face after coming together with Gavranovic, the Swiss striker. Sort of backed into him and maybe caught him in the throat with an arm. I don't think there was a great deal of intent. It's one of those where he's trying to hold him off, and a flail of the arm, and it sends him tumbling over.
Yeah, I didn't see a foul in that, really. Every coming together, every little bit of contact for me does not necessarily, the referee blowing his whistle. Here comes Spain again at the edge of the area. Can he yet again with the ball rolling, break kindly? A shot comes in, another save from Jan Sommer. And he's flying around now, getting a lot of work in before a possible penalty shootout. Yazabal's shot, he's on target, but it's a good save.
And then gloves up, isn't he, for the shootout? And yeah, he's throwing himself about. He was key against France and really showing his worth again here.
Right then, corner kick again, ball comes in, some of them with a punch, and he's taken out there. That's nasty stuff from Moreno. Was never going to get that ball. I'd yellow card him for that, but depends what the referee saw of it. Let's take a look. He's no chance of getting that ball. He just jumps into him with a leading elbow, isn't he?
Yeah, he ducks down because he knows he's not getting the header, but he sort of leans into the goalkeeper then as he comes in a little bit lower, and that makes it, I think, even more dangerous when you make that connection at the lower part of the body and you can swing your opponent like a pendulum right over. But Sommer, fortunately for Switzerland, seems to be okay. He's back up without receiving treatment, and we'll get play restarted from this free kick into the final minute of this first half of extra time. And Switzerland, although they've been clinging on by the nails at times, look as though they're going to get through it unscathed.
Yep, maybe. Long clearance for them, and Babu shins the ball ahead of himself. I thought there should have been a yellow card for that last foul that we saw for Moreno. If you think about it, well, we might be getting to penalties. What are you going to do? I'm going to leave one in on the keeper. You know, we do know that keepers play a big part in penalty shootouts, and Jan Sommer, you don't want him hobbling on one leg if you're a Swiss fan. Anyway, Spain now trying to go down the left with Albert. Ball back on his inside for Pedri, who's had a quiet game. Pedri back on it, left-hand side, rolls a good ball into the box for Dani Olmo, looking to turn. They're still looking to turn. Tries to chip to get a shot away, but it was a bit too tight. Now ball breaks back. Now a bit of head tennis in the middle. Gavranovic will chase it, but he won't get it. And Spain, somewhere near the halfway line, are forced to take a turn and come again. And they will do through Pau Torres. And then the ball with Pedri and Laporte. And now to Yazabal on the right-hand side. Looking for support. There's plenty of it. Shouldn't be looking for too long. Torres. And then now with Pedri and Albert. Loaded box then, full of white shirts, but he can't beat Elvedi at the near post, who, along with Akanji, have both been excellent at the back. They've really stuck to their guns, but again, it's Spain dominating. They're in the final minute of this first half of extra time, though, and without hitting the back of the net. Now maybe a chance of shot, but that's straight down the middle, and it's a save again for Jan Sommer off of Yazabal.
Yeah, it's really good positioning from Sommer. He gambled on it and just took a slight step early on, and he's not even having to dive in the end. He's already there, able to catch it. Minor spillage, but collects it before it hits the ground.
Looks like we've had the first 15 minutes then, and we'll take a short break. At St. Petersburg, you can't separate the two teams after 90 minutes, one apiece, and still one apiece after 15 minutes of extra time. But it's all about Spain, is it? Remo Freul had been sent off, so now it's Spain an onslaught. And Alba Cross Marino wide from close. Alba shot tipped over, Llorente shot blocked, and Marino shot saved. Or Yazabal said two shots have been saved by the keeper. Jan Sommer's a busy boy right now, but Spain haven't quite got it done yet. At St. Petersburg, you can't separate the two teams after 90 minutes, one apiece. And still one apiece after 15 minutes of extra time. But it's all about Spain, is it? Remo Freul had been sent off, so now it's Spain an onslaught. And Alba Cross Marino wide from close. Alba shot tipped over, Llorente shot blocked, and Marino shot saved. Or Yazabal said two shots have been saved by the keeper. Jan Sommer's a busy boy right now, but Spain haven't quite got it done yet. At St. Petersburg, you can't separate the two teams after 90 minutes, one apiece. And still one apiece after 15 minutes of extra time. But it's all about Spain, is it? Remo Freul had been sent off, so now it's Spain an onslaught. And Alba Cross Marino wide from close. Alba shot tipped over, Llorente shot blocked, and Marino shot saved. Or Yazabal said two shots have been saved by the keeper. Jan Sommer's a busy boy right now, but Spain haven't quite got it done yet. At St. Petersburg, you can't separate the two teams after 90 minutes, one apiece. And still one apiece after 15 minutes of extra time. but it's all about Spain, is it? Remo Freud had been sent off, so now it's Spain and onslaught. And Alba Cross Marino wide from close. Alba shot tipped over. Llorente shot blocked. Moreno shot saved. Oyarzabal said 2 shots have been saved by the keeper. Jan Sommer's a busy boy right now, but Spain haven't quite got it done yet. And St. Petersburg, you can't separate the two teams after 90 minutes, one apiece. And still one apiece after 15 minutes of extra time. But it's all about Spain, is it? Remo Freud had been sent off, so now it's Spain and onslaught. And Alba Cross Marino wide from close. Alba shot tipped over. Llorente shot blocked. Moreno shot saved. Oyarzabal said 2 shots have been saved by the keeper. Jan Sommer's a busy boy right now, but Spain haven't quite got it done yet. And St. Petersburg, you can't separate the two teams after 90 minutes, one apiece. And still one apiece after 15 minutes of extra time. Right, we're back. I'm John Hogan, joined by Bobby Jackson for this, and it's turned into right pot boiler, and it's what knockout football's all about. Trapdoor football. One team's going to fall through, one team's going to march on. But if Spain don't get it done in the next 15 minutes, it could be them waving bye-bye.
Yeah, exactly that. You said before about the red cards shown in this competition, the own goals and the records that are being broken. Well, Switzerland making their debut in a quarter-final of a European Championships today. They could be set to go and break further new ground by reaching a semi-final if they can continue to hold out up against 3-time winners Spain. So potentially a huge shock on the cards here. I think thinking further down the line as well, whichever of these teams gets through, they'll both have gone through extra time periods in back-to-back games, and whoever waits for them in the semi-finals, whether it be Italy or Belgium, might well be much fresher. And even if they get to the final, you're thinking it's going to take its toll, and it might play a part in the competition further down the line.
Akanji stands firm again under a lot of pressure there as Spain again just pouring forward. See what he's earned his corn tonight. He's been absolutely superb. Llorente trying to flick the ball through him, but he's a wall there. Manuel Akanji, the Borussia Dortmund stopper. Nicolas Helvedi has done really well at the back. They've been outstanding. In theory, they're a back three tonight with Rodriguez in there. And yeah, they've supported each other. You know, a lot has changed, and I don't think they're as strong as they could be. We saw at the break just then how important Granit Xhaka is to the unit. He was right in the middle of the huddle, screaming and shouting at them all. Petkovic did the first one after 19 minutes, but second one was Xhaka, and you're just saying, look, this is how long we've got to hang on. Let's get to that penalty shooter, then we'll work it out afterwards. But you know, hard work he's going to get us there. You know, don't take your eye off the ball and other such bits and pieces of knowledge I'm sure he was giving him, but mostly it was about motivation. You know, we don't have long, just you've got to work your socks off, and here they go. And Babu, little breakout over the halfway line now. He's getting the run on Pau Torres, and he brought down there. Surely that's a free kick. Has he won the corner kick there? Well, that wasn't given, and lots of the Swiss players had run forward there, but maybe he's a little bit unlucky there on Babu that, you know, he wasn't adjudged a foul on him.
They've shown good commitment, hadn't they, getting forwards, as you mentioned. I think 4 red shirts in the attack, and Babu, one of them who'd broken down that right hand side. I doubt we'll see much of that in this final 15 minutes or 12 minutes, pretty much as it is now, as they tick on by. But when they do see an opening, it is an opportunity to try and nick it. If they can avoid penalties, even better. But with a man disadvantage following that setting off for Remo Freuler, they have got to pick and choose their moments wisely.
Yep, they sure do. And for Spain, need to use all their nous to get round the back. Is Dani Olmo tries to make the breakthrough, but he can't get round 2, and Babu picks it up. And then it's a poor clearance from him. He's now has got the work to do. But he does well under pressure from Pedri. Plays the ball off. Pedri comes back to him. He don't want that ball anymore. And Babu, does he? He wants to clear his lines. Nobody's making it easy, and he makes a mess of it. And then Olmo tries to half turn, and that ball blasted away. It was Jibril Sow coming to help out, and Babu just not finding a way to clear their lines, but they don't have long. Anyway, it's Spain trying to keep going. Ball down the right-hand side, and an opportunity then Well, Yassapal has shown up pretty well so far. He's got a couple of shots away, but fortunately for him, both have been saved by Summit. Here is Jordi Albert, who's played pretty well today, but he goes backwards, and again, he's pretty tentative, popping the ball around. Now with Laporte, who's come further forward. Little side-to-side action from Spain, but can they get around the back? Jordi Alba now, great ball into the box, shot comes in, and in the end that's blocked away. Then Llorente goes down in the box like he's been felled. Is there a VAR check? Are they going to take a look? Or is Llorente play acting? What do you think, Bobby?
Well, I think they're giving the free kick the other way in the end. Was there a hand that they were trying to say was used in there? But either way, it's an incredible block, isn't it? Llorente with the side-footed effort, and Rodriguez just launches himself to the ground, slides through and clears it with the foot, and I'm not sure if it was an offside or a hand that the referee Michael Oliver indicated there, but either way it's a free kick to Switzerland, and they live to tell the tale once again. 5 minutes down in this second period of extra time, and edging ever closer towards the penalties.
It is the countdown now from 10 minutes in, and it's exciting, and Switzerland have never been so close, have they? And like we said, they've been successful in a penalty shootout already, disposing of France with 5 brilliant penalties. We know how good Lloris is as well, but I don't seem to remember him getting close to any. Here we go again, Spain round the back. Jordi Alba puts a good first time ball in, shot comes in, it's straight down the middle from Dani Olmo.
Yeah, it was a good chance, wasn't it, towards the edge of the box, and he sort of scuffs it a little bit. I think it's down the middle and not the direction he would have necessarily wanted, but he's under pressure there, Olmo, playing on a more inside role there rather than out wide as we saw him when he first was introduced, and he was happy to try and get around the outside, but they're just dropping in and offering himself up as that option on the edge of the box. They've done that a couple of times in the extra time period of Spain, those cutbacks into the late arrivers on the box, and Switzerland need to make sure that they're picking them up and tracking them.
Strong challenge there, Rodriguez, but in the end, Yassabal saying fair enough. Fair enough for him, fair enough for me. Jordi Alba then just lays it backwards, and again a little bit of keep ball. Laporte comes to help out. He was born in France, wasn't he? Played for Bilbao, because it was one of the Basque regions of France. Anyway, here's a chance, and his shot's blazed over the top from Olmo. Well, Luis Enrique made all these little changes, didn't he? And you know, did he bring on players who were as good as the ones that they replaced? I think the answer for me is no, he didn't.
He's bringing another one on now in Thiago, and he's replacing Pau Torres. They're not having to do too much defensive work. Maybe that's a surprise that he's waited this long to take off a defender for a more attack-minded play. Not that Thiago is going to spend much time in the opposition box, but he'll certainly try and pull the strings to bring others into the game and create chances for them. Has got an eye for a pass and can control it really well. But yeah, he's possibly been brought on for his penalty-taking abilities as well.
Here is Moreno. I'm a little surprised we haven't seen Adama Traore today. Anyway, Albert crossing, headed away by Elvedi. A lot of the times teams have to try and detail 2 men to mark Adama Traore. That's how, how good he can be. I'm not sure whether he would be the type to take a penalty. I'm just wondering if Thiago would, he's going to take a penalty then. I guess he'd have to do if you're bringing him on at this stage. I don't know who else would have done. Maybe Rodri. I'm not sure he's the type to take a penalty. They don't need a defensive screen, do they? But we'll see. But there's 7 minutes left. Bobby wasn't feeling it for Spain earlier, and I just thought they created that many chances in the first period of extra time that they would come good at some point. It hasn't been the same in the second period.
No, they've had a couple, haven't they? But it's not been the onslaught that we saw in that first period where Sommer had to make 3, if not 4, fantastic saves, full stretch at close range to tip them away and keep the likes of Alba and Moreno out, and Switzerland still in this tie and potentially going through to the semi-finals of the European Championship. She spoke about Spain as your dark horses coming into this tournament. I don't think many had a look at Switzerland and thought that they could cause too many problems or get to this point, especially when they lined up against France last time out and get Spain at this stage. They've shown great character and are edging further towards that penalty shootout, and you have to give them a real shot now.
Proper tournament football, there's always a springer, isn't there? Somebody who somehow gets there, but anyway, Dani Olmo now, it's a good looking ball into the box. Thiago's in there, we'll hear from him, it's way too heavy, and Llorente is forced out the box. You don't want Thiago there, do you, really? I mean, he's a good footballer, but not his bag. Anyway, here comes Spain again. They've got a loaded box again. Good looking ball in. Can they get there? Llorente dabs it back across the face. It might break for Moreno. Can't get it out of his feet. Another shot comes in. Big deflection again. Elvedi blocking the shot from Olmo to his Everdos. It'll be another corner, but Spain tend to take him short anyway. I'd be disappointed right now, Bobby, if we didn't see a penalty shootout.
Yeah, we're so close, aren't we? At that point, I think everyone as a neutral always thinks you've gone this far, let's see the drama that comes with the spot kicks as well.
Well, the ball comes in, a header at the near post, and Sommer saves it again. He read that well. And that was Busquets' header at near post. On target, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. He climbs well at the near post, and it's just sort of the glance down and hoping to get it on target and see what happens from there. But again, you have to really credit the positioning of Jan Sommer. He's been behind everything today pretty much, apart from the goal he conceded that wasn't really much he could do, deflected massively. Take that out of the equation, and he's been foot perfect in this match, and Switzerland will have a lot of thanks for him. I was just looking at the penalty shootout records for these two sides at major competitions. Switzerland won 1 and lost 3. The win coming in that game against France last time out. For Spain, they've had 9 competitive penalty shootouts. They've won 5 and lost 4, so a bit of a mixed bag for both of these sides. Also Switzerland with 3 losses and 1 win, but it is that lottery, and it just shows you can be the best side in the world, but when it comes to a shootout, as France proved, world champions, one of the best players in the world, can't put it in the back of the net.
No, that's right. And the thing is that, it's a Swiss team who did that recently, so, they've got that in their memory banks. What did we do? We'll do it again. It's like that. Maybe when they've had penalty shootouts in the past, they haven't had the players to do it, those mentally strong enough to go up there and do what they need to do, or technically, good enough either, but perhaps now they do. Anyway, it seems a shame. I think Shaqiri and Xhaka would have taken penalties if they're out there, and probably Seferovic too. But anyhow, I think Shaqiri had come off last time, so now to make do with that. Poor ball that by Thiago with the outstep, but Elvedi gives it away. An opportunity here, real opportunity for Spain. Into the box they go with Moreno, and he's shot again. He's a P-roller. This kid, he looks like he could play all night and not score. I'm not sure I'd fancy him for a penalty.
Yeah, he's just snatched at it again, hasn't he? It really opened up there as the ball broke. Poor clearance away, gets himself into a good position, carries it nicely enough, but then just hits down into the ball and it's into the ground. There's no pace on the shot. Sommer pretty much falls on top of it. He had very little to do in keeping that one out. As you say, he's had several opportunities now. In fairness, he's had more than Morata did during his period in the game, but I suppose Moreno has been up against the 10 men rather than the 11 when Morata was involved, and he didn't get a look in.
Well, Spain back on the ball as ever. There's only 2 minutes left to go. They need to get it done here. They don't want the lottery. They've got a man advantage. Here's Thiago. Can he make it pay? Chips a terrible ball into the box again. He's brought nothing to the party since he's come on. He's a nice player, but... and again, I would say that Spain have been hugely disappointed in this game to get to us to where we are. Yeah, they've had a lot of the ball. I'm not even impressed with Luis Enrique, and his substitutions for me just bizarre. I don't know quite what he's been trying to do. I think they'd have been better off keeping Torres, Morata and Sarabia out there. I think he's just tinkered about too much. He's about to make another change now as well. And Pedri will be replaced by Rodri.
Yeah, so again, maybe another player that is to take a penalty, a more experienced one, I suppose, to Pedri, and possibly that experience could really count when it comes to a penalty shootout.
Yeah, they always reckon that the younger players are the ones who don't care or are more brave about putting their hand up for penalties. When you're older, you understand what comes with it, the baggage that you can get with a missed penalty. Anyway, we're nearly there. Our fingers crossed. I like a good old penalty shootout. It would make me laugh as well if somehow Switzerland managed to get a winner, even though I'd sort of been banging on about how good Spain are throughout the tournament. Anyway, they haven't been that good today, otherwise they would have put Switzerland to the sword. And particularly since for the last 40-odd minutes they've had one man more, but it doesn't seem to have mattered. We're closing in on 30 minutes of extra time as Jordi Alba's on the ball. And for Spain, where's the devil in this? They're still swinging side to side. Thiago on the ball. Little sideways ball from him. Then the ball goes backwards. Busquets gets a better ball. Now Alba puts the ball off the back of Mbabu, and that ball just blasted away. And the referee, has he blown his whistle? No, he hasn't, because there's a minute left. We're waiting for that. We're into it already. So Switzerland won, Spain won. Switzerland pick up the ball. Gavranovic tries to run through a brick wall there, and the free kick's given, and he kicks the ball away, and he's going to get a yellow card. Well, I think he'd take that, to be honest with you.
He'll take it, but he's going to miss the semi-finals now if Switzerland go through. He was already walking that tightrope, so I suppose they've got to get there still, but he will play no part.
Well, the ball driven across now, picked up by Llorente at the far post. Last chance saloon there for Spain. Ball comes in, it's headed over the top. That surely's got to be it. One apiece is, I think, where we'll be stuck at, and we'll have the penalties. Yeah, that's desperate for Gavranovic, isn't it? I just thought, he can't be in that position, just kicking the ball away. How stupid.
Yeah, silly, isn't it, really? And, well, there it is. The whistle's gone. We're set for penalties.
Right, we'll take a short break. We'll be back at you in 5 minutes. It always takes longer than you think, but it's myself, John Hogan, and Bobby Jackson to take you through the penalty shootout at St. Petersburg in the quarter-finals. The two teams can't be separated. They're one apiece after 120 minutes. It's been an onslaught from Spain ever since Remo Freuler got sent off, but they've defended well and stoically. We've a long time since Jordi Alba's shot was deflected in by Denis Zakaria. Xherdan Shaqiri got the equaliser. Then we saw Remo Freuler sent off for a poor challenge. Since then it's been an onslaught, but Jan Sommer's made several good saves. There have been several good blocks, and it's penalties. It's been an onslaught from Spain ever since Remo Freuler at St. Petersburg in the quarter-finals. The two teams can't be separated. They're one apiece after 120 minutes. It's been an onslaught from Spain ever since Remo Freuler got sent off, but they've defended well and stoically. A long time since Jordi Alba's shot was deflected in by Denis Zakaria. Xherdan Shaqiri got the equaliser. Then we saw Remo Freuler sent off for a poor challenge. Since then it's been an onslaught, but Jan Sommer's made several good saves. There have been several good blocks, and it's penalties at St. Petersburg in the quarter-finals. The two teams can't be separated. They're one apiece after 120 minutes. It's been an onslaught from Spain ever since Remo Freuler got sent off, but they've defended well and stoically. A long time since Jordi Alba's shot was deflected in by Denis Zakaria. Xherdan Shaqiri got the equaliser. Then we saw Remo Freuler sent off for a poor challenge. Since then it's been an onslaught, but Jan Sommer's made several good saves. There have been several good blocks, and it's penalties at St. Petersburg in the quarter-finals. The two teams can't be separated. They're one apiece after 120 minutes. It's been an onslaught from Spain ever since Remo Freuler got sent off, but they've defended well and stoically. A long time since Jordi Alba's shot was deflected in by Denis Zakaria. Xherdan Shaqiri got the equaliser. Then we saw Remo Freuler sent off for a poor challenge. Since then it's been an onslaught, but Jan Sommer's made several good saves. There have been several good blocks, and and it's penalties at St. Petersburg in the quarter-finals. The two teams can't be separated. They're one apiece after 120 minutes. It's been an onslaught from Spain ever since Remo Freuler got sent off, but they've defended well and stoically. For a long time since Jordi Alba's shot was deflected in by Denis Zakaria. Zerdan Shaqiri got the equaliser. Then we saw Remo Freuler sent off for a poor challenge. Since then it's been an onslaught, but Jan Sommer's made several good saves. There have been several good blocks, and it's penalties at St. Petersburg in the quarter-finals. The two teams can't be separated. They're one apiece after 120 minutes. It's been an onslaught from Spain ever since Remo Freuler got sent off, but they've defended well and stoically. For a long time since Jordi Alba's shot was deflected in by Denis Zakaria. Zerdan Shaqiri got the equaliser. Then we saw Remo Freuler sent off for a poor challenge. Since then it's been an onslaught, but Jan Sommer's made several good saves. There have been several good blocks, and it's penalties at St. Petersburg in the quarter-finals. The two teams can't be separated. They're one apiece after 120 minutes. It's been an onslaught from Spain ever since Remo Freuler got sent off, but they've defended well and stoically. For a long time since Jordi Alba's shot was deflected in by Denis Zakaria. Zerdan Shaqiri got the equaliser. Then we saw Remo Freuler sent off for a poor challenge. Since then it's been an onslaught, but Jan Sommer's made several good saves. There have been several good blocks, and it's penalties at St. Well, you've got to love penalties, don't you? I think for me, when you consider it, Spain had gone in, short favourites, you think, oh yeah, you know, early keep ball, they got the early goal, and then just retreated into tiki-taka hell, ball going nowhere, and that led to the equaliser. Remo Freuler he's sending off meant that then Switzerland just did that rearguard thing and pretty much defended everything that was just in front of them, and it was easy. Anyway, we've got the penalty shootout. Jan Sommer's going to be the first man to make a save, and I'll be covering Spain's attempts with the Busquets to go first, and Bobby will be doing Switzerland. So Sergio Busquets steps up, and he's the post. Oh dear, Sommer had gone the wrong way, but Busquets couldn't steer it in. Oh, that's a shocking penalty.
Well, he was cool and calm, but I think too cool and calm in the end. He stroked it to that left-hand side, and it comes off the bottom of the woodwork. So it is already advantage Switzerland with their first kick of the shootout, and they managed to score all 5 against France. This time taking the first one is the same man who kicked them off last time. It is the number 19, Mario Gavranovic. Managed to slot home past Hugo Lloris. Can he do it beyond Unai Simon, who's shuffling across his line? Gavranovic puts it to the left-hand side, and Switzerland have themselves on the board in the penalty shootout. They have the lead.
Well, that's how to do it, isn't it? That wasn't tentative. He absolutely put his laces through that. Next up then is Olmo, who came on after the break, Danny Olmo. He had a few shots. Anyway, what's he got now? Looks pensive. Put the ball down. Up he steps, and he stumped it into the roof. That's a pretty good penalty under pressure, Bobby.
Yeah, it's much better, isn't it? Goes for a bit of height, even though Sommer had sort of half committed to going to that side. I think he realised pretty soon that it was going high and out of his reach, and almost getting Spain back in this penalty shootout at 1-1, although Switzerland just about to take their second one now, and it's going to be Fabian Schär at the moment. We are going leg for leg with how they went against France. Fabian Schär slotted home in that penalty shootout victory. Minor advantage for Switzerland maybe that they're shooting towards a large chunk of their fans based but it's saved by Simon down to his right hand side. It was struck with very little conviction in a similar theme to Sergio Busquets, and it's all square once again.
Well, guess he's right. Side foot. He never really caught hold of that. It's a good save though. Well, one apiece. Well, we proper tight old tussle. This one didn't see who that was who picked it up. Anyway, for Spain now, that's another save. And that was Rodri, was it?
Yeah.
So Rodri's shot saved, and Jan Sommer makes a habit of it, doesn't he? But again, it was too close to keep it.
Yeah, he pointed to his right, Sommer, and then dived to his left, and doesn't look as though that had distracted Rodri. He always appeared to be going in that direction. There was no hesitation and major change in the body shape. It just again wasn't really in the corner or out of reach of Sommer. He was only brought off the bench in the final moments of extra time, Rodri. So we go again to the man who scored the third penalty against France, and it's the player who has been so crucial for Switzerland in defence today, Manuel Akanji. He's been a rock at the back. Now he needs to hold his nerve. 12 yards out, looks steely faced. He's dyed blonde hair. And Unai Simon shuffling across as the man before him, Fabian Schär. And both goalkeepers are pulling it out the bag here.
Like I said, nobody's good at penalties anymore. What's happened to everybody?
It's falling apart.
I tell you what, both keepers are making the in now. Well, it's Moreno, and he'd had a pretty poor game. That will be enough. Anyway, up he steps, left-footed. Ah, that's a beauty. He drills it into the back of the net.
They were battling against it, but poorly taken spot kicks from the Swiss means that it's now the underdogs who started this game that are having to fight their way back into it. Next up, Gabriel Embolo again. He was the fourth penalty taker against France and remains in that position in the order this time around. I'd be today. It is Vargas at the moment. We'll see if he can find a way past the goalkeeper. Simon, well he does, but it's over the bar. It's an effort that was really poorly struck by the substitute who looks up to the skies, and it's really